by saying. Okay, hey, welcome everybody. It is Wednesday. It's 7 o'clock. We're back.
We're back
from a one week hiatus. Oh, 2 weeks for Mary Beth.
2 weeks for me.
So
we're back. Are you hunkered down? Are you about to get pummeled with snow?
No, it's funny because as of the other day, they said we're supposed to get another foot to foot and a half, and now today they're saying it's just going to be rain. So thank God for small miracles.
There's that. We're going to get rain.
We got 2 feet on that other storm. That other storm that was about 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks from Saturday, I should say, or a week from Saturday, was over 2 feet here, or right around.
Oh, wow.
So it was ugly. Yeah, no good.
Wow,
We're done with snow. It's not uncommon to get snow this time of year, but that much was depressing, especially since we didn't have any snow on the ground to begin with.
Yeah, all winter, nothing, and then suddenly spring snow.
So, and then all of a sudden, boom, we're hammered. So yeah, we're supposed to get a lot of rain. I'm hoping it stays rain.
Yeah, I hope so too.
So
anyway,
I do not have a drink this week because I just dropped the ball. So so no drink this week, guys, but you'll come up with something. I'm sure you have something in your liquor cabinet you come up with that you can.
Hi, Dr. Alexander.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
Greetings, Bill, Earthlings.
And Martin and Doc. So do you have news for us?
I have news. I have 5 news tidbits. Not tidbits. I have 5 significant pieces of news for seconds. I have 2 weeks to catch up.
We got a lot to cover, so let's go. Go.
Yes, let me fly through this. First one, sad. Chance Perdomo. I don't know, Rizzo, if you have been watching Gen V.
I have not watched it yet. It's on my list.
It is The Boys spinoff. I think you would like it. Chance Perdomo, he played the lead, Andre Anderson, on Gen V. He has died in a motorcycle accident. Cast members shared a joint statement on social media paying tribute to Chance, who is only 27 years old. I really enjoyed his character. I don't know where the series is going to go without him. That's a shame. Item number 2. And this is kind of a lightning round. You ready? The Star Wars Acolyte trailer dropped over 6 million views in 24 hours. The Alien Romulus trailer dropped. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire opened to mixed reviews. Some people not loving it. Godzilla X Kong opened to reasonably good reviews. They beat their box office estimates. Disco. We all get to disco tomorrow. Kingdom of the Planets dropped its first clip and behind-the-scenes thingy. That's set to open on May 10th. And Beetlejuice 2 has dropped a teaser trailer already. It's due out September 6th. Rizzo, do we need to take a field trip in honor of that movie?
It was shot very close to me.
Field trip to your neck of the woods.
Over the line in Vermont, yeah. Cool. Where they shot the original, same town where they shot the original.
Yeah, same place where they shot the original.
They had to rebuild the bridge, and I think they had to rebuild the house and put a fake facade on the general store to make it look nicer than it currently does.
That's Vermont for you.
Vermont. All right. Nothing changed in the 30 years.
Nothing's changed. All right. Item number 3. Snowpiercer. Snowpiercer gets season 4 after all.
Are they gonna? That's interesting.
Yes, Snowpiercer has moved to AMC. It had been scrapped at TNT. Yep. So the producers shopped around. AMC has picked up all 4 seasons. Seasons 1, 2, and 3 will be available to stream later this year, and season 4 is expected in 2025.
I like that show.
I do too. Yeah, I did too. And I like the movie.
Pretty good. It was a pretty good adaptation for the movie, and they kind of left season 3. It was a hanger, but not a hanger. Like you could make your own.
Yeah, it could have. If it had stayed there, it would have been okay.
Too, but it'd be interesting to see where they go with it.
From what I understood, they had shot season 4, and TNT was going to air season 4, and then TNT said no and scrapped it. So I can't
believe that they go through all that. I guess they hadn't paid for it, so maybe that's how it works. I don't know.
I don't know how that works at all. I really don't.
Seems crazy.
All right. It does seem like a waste. Item number 4, Marvel. Marvel did a little soul searching. Yeah, they read the writing on the wall. They had a little come to Jesus moment, and they did some quiet quitting. The CEO of Disney, Bob Iger, confirmed that there are going to be some cancellations as part of a brand refocus. They're refocusing on their safest bets and dropping ancillary, like extra peripheral characters. Let me tell you let me zip through what's been canceled. Eternals 2, canceled.
Yeah.
Ant-Man 4, probably on the chopping block. Captain Marvel 3, probably on the chopping block. Armor Wars, which was going to be Rhodey and Ironheart, on the chopping block. Some special presentations like Werewolf by Night, which is already out. That's an old one, but new ones canceled. Vision Quest, which was going to be a series about Vision, probably on the chopping block. A series about the Scarlet Witch's 2 kids whose names I don't remember, gone. Young Avengers, gone. Denai Guerrera, who's going to play Okoye in a Wakanda Okoye show, probably on the chopping block. Blade, probably on the chopping block. Moon Knight season 2, probably on.
Oh, bummer. That one I liked.
That one I did like. Rizzo, what do you think? Has Marvel seen the light and heard our complaints, or?
Well, I think it's smart. I think they were diluting their IP a little too much with too many different shows. Maybe trying to hit too many different genres, or what do you call it? Demographics. They were just trying to do too much. I don't know. I hope, I think because the cost of making these things is not cheap.
Yeah.
So I think they were looking at their returns and what people were actually watching. And I don't know, when you say they go back to their, what's left, they're going to go back to Avengers.
The Avengers? That's it. That's all they really got.
What else was left? Or
Spider, like they'll still do Spider-Man stuff.
I wonder, this is Disney. I have a feeling Star Wars, they may see a similar reckoning. They haven't quite gone as much as we haven't seen as much Star Wars as we did with Marvel. But I'm wondering if at some point because first you said the Acolyte rather, that trailer dropped. I watched it. I don't have an opinion on it one way or the other because it looked interesting, but there's a lot of hate for it already, and it hasn't even dropped yet.
Right? They're hating just on a trailer.
They're just hating on it. I guess
it's got what's her name from The Matrix, Carrie Moss.
Yeah, that's one character, and I guess there's a lot of people that are upset. Again, we have a woman of color who's kind of their, and it's like, get over it, people. I
don't know if Star Wars will see a cut like Marvel.
Not to that extent, but I think they're going to be a lot more careful about what
they may make.
And I think
Dave Filoni did just talk about a new clone series, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think they need to stick to. I think with Star Wars, this is my personal opinion. I think what they need to stick to is that the kind of the between the prequel and episode 4. That.
In that era,
I think they found a sweet spot, kind of that Rogue One, or just slightly after, somewhere around that, either right before the end of the Empire or right after the end of the Empire.
Clone transitioning to.
I think that's their sweet spot for timeline. I think that's what we're seeing. That's where the most popular stuff was.
Yeah. But, we're supposedly going to get more Asajj Ventress stuff too. So I don't know. We'll see. All right, shall I go on to number 5? Number 5 tonight, because the guys, I can't. I'm possessed. I'm obsessed with this story. While I was gone, Apollo made an $11 billion offer for Paramount Pictures film studio, the film studio only, and Paramount said, not feeling it, not feeling it. Paramount Global and its parent company, National Amusements, are getting closer to an agreement with Skydance Media. This is going to come together in a 3-way deal. Why 3 ways, you ask? Well, this is complicated, but Skydance will acquire first, they will acquire National Amusements, which is a privately held company. And it will blow up and become newly a large juggernaut, like the final boss. And then as a monster, as a juggernaut, it will then acquire Paramount Global, which is a publicly traded company. So this is like a 2-step process. Are we happy about any of this? Yeah, I think we are. And here's why. Paramount Global and Skydance have been business partners in film and TV for over 10 years. So they already know how to make shows together. And that familiarity is said to be a big factor in Redstone's decision to do this. It is no secret that Shari Redstone, would prefer for the company's major film and TV assets to stay largely intact. I think what that means for us is most of the shows we've come to love on Paramount and CBS are going to largely stay where they are. Like nothing's going to change, I think. What do you think, Rizzo? Or do you have an opinion on this?
I don't really have an opinion at this point. You know, we're gonna end up
Well,
with
nothing's a done deal yet.
like two giant companies running everything, Disney and
It's
some other conglomeration.
Yeah.
And
if Skydance absorbs National Amusements and Paramount, it's gonna be a freaking juggernaut.
I have a feeling
it's gonna be massive.
we may see the government step in and an antitrust type, you know.
I don't know if they can, because National Amusements, which is the parent company of Paramount, is
what they can
private.
do and what
It's
they will
private.
do are two different things. I mean, well, there are antitrust laws. There's been laws about owning too many medias. You know, they have all that stuff. So I could see them having to go to the federal government and say, "Can we own all this stuff?" Because then
that's a good question.
Too many single sources giving you your information, whether it be news, entertainment, and everything, and that's a very powerful thing when you think about it. If you're controlling that much media,
yes.
And it's not just movies and TV. We all know
it's not. It's guys. It's CBS. All CBS live news,
media, and all this other
sports.
stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So it's kind of scary. It could be. Yeah. So.
All right. Well, let's see what happens. Nothing's a done deal yet, so let's just see what happens. You do not have a drink for us tonight.
No, sorry, guys. I've been kind of fighting a cold, and I've been busy at work today.
That's okay. Let's
drop the ball on the drink. So
let's do it, and let's talk about.
So so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do
those episodes that just make us
bad episodes from all the Star Trek series. We're gonna try to get as many in from all the you know, we've each picked some. Some of them might be controversial to you guys. You might not agree with us. That's totally fine. But we're gonna try to hit them as many as we can. So we may go pretty fast through this. So we'll of course go in chronological order and start with the original series. And so, Mary Beth, what was one of yours you felt out of the 79 episodes was some of the bad ones?
Let me
your top bad.
Let me preface this by just giving you guys a reminder that worst is subjective, and what might be bad to me, you might love. So I'm not attacking you or your taste. I'm just wondering what the hell the writers were thinking. And for me, I hate to admit this, I don't like Wade Eden. I kind of despise space hippies.
That's on my list. That's on my list too.
I don't like Herbert's. I don't know what any of that's about. It just when they started singing, I would cringe and like lower the volume until I thought they were done singing. I just
no, it's not a great episode.
And the egg, they had that egg pin. Remember
egg pin, yeah.
Yeah. I don't
know. I think the problem what they were trying to do is be kind of inclusive to the
hippies of the day. Yes, I get that.
They were trying to address that, you know, that this free that we were getting anti-establishment type of thing. Of course, the baseline is that the cult leader of this thing has a disease that is deadly and can be transmitted, and he's refusing to quarantine, and he thinks, you know, he's blaming their environment that they've created, this sterile environment that created his problems. And we've heard that again. That's a trope that is kind of repeated in science fiction.
Yes.
But yeah, it is a little cringy with the hippies singing and Spock singing with them, you know, playing the harp. And
yeah, Jeff Rubel is reminding me, and you know what, Jeff, you're right. He says the only good thing in Wade and Eden was I'm gonna crack my knuckles and jump for joy. I got a clean bill of health from Dr. McCoy. You know, Jeff, you're right.
Who went on to be, you know, that was what's his name? He just died recently. Excuse me, Charles Napier. Who went on
was it Charles Napier? Yeah, it was.
Who went on to do so many other things. And of course, you know, some of my favorite characters was, you know, the leader singer in the good old boys band from the Blues Brothers. And
he did just pass, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he just died recently. Of course, he was the general. He also played the general in Austin Powers.
Yes, that's right. He did play.
He's done tons. Look at him. Look up his
look at his IMDb. He's done a ton of stuff. You'll recognize him.
We got Charles Napier from this episode. So
yes,
there's a positive.
That's true.
So
what else do you have?
I have. This is my all-time hated TOS episode that I refuse to even ever watch. Is And the Children Shall Lead.
Yeah.
I think this is just, again, another kind of cringy.
Not to be confused with Miri.
Not to be confused with Miri. This is the one where they go to the planet and all the parents are dead at this colony and just the kids, it's like a science station, and just the kids are alive. and it turns out there's this evil energy creature that has somehow corrupted these children and basically got them to murder their own parents.
Yeah.
And then, but he also gives them power somehow to control things. They always have to have these kids with very, Charlie X type powers where they can force people to do things. But I think the worst part was like, was Bill Tice like off that week or something, because the outfit for the angel looked like a shower curtain that they just wrapped around. Like, I don't know, like they hung it on him like an umbrella upside down or something.
It may well have been.
I mean, it was just just terrible. Yeah, Martin was saying, just running back to Charles Napier, I just noticed he was in
Little Green Men. I just saw that episode recently.
It was a great episode. It was a good episode. So that was one of my. I just felt it was annoying, and there you go, Martin. You got a hail, fire, and snow, whatever the hell it was, the chant. And then of course Kirk has to act as the. And
aren't they all like around on the bridge with him at the end? Weren't we just talking about how the end of every episode? They're in
control. They've got Sulu all looking like Sulu won't change course because he thinks he's gonna fly into a sword. Like there's all these swords flying by. Uhura thinks she's old. They're messing with their minds to get them to do what they want.
Yes.
And I guess the end game was again all power for this angel, as they called it, so that he could go to a planet where there's a lot of little kids that he could control. When you think about it, it's a little cringy. I mean, you have this old kind of pedophile looking dude who's trying to control these children.
Oh, God.
It's just not good.
TOS did not do little children well at all, because Miri was equally as bad with the ducks.
Miri kind of, she has question on the bonk bonk and a head bonk bonk.
And Charlie X, also not a good kid. Yeah.
No, I mean, it goes back to good old Stan Lee's, power corrupts,
I suppose that's
or
true.
Not Stan Lee, but, with great power comes great responsibility.
Hang on, the dog is moving around here. My other TOS choice, and I will not watch this episode. Like, if it comes on, I'm like, no. I will not watch. I absolutely despise Turnabout Intruder. This was the last episode that ever aired, right? Yes. Yeah. And this is the one where Kirk gets switched bodies with Janice Lester. And the sexism and the way he acts and the way she I despise this episode. I will take Spock's brain 3 times over this thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's not a good episode. And it makes sense for the time. It doesn't make sense for Star Trek, because she's saying that no woman can become a captain because it's not allowed, or basically. And I know before everybody starts flaming me, I know there's been tons of talks where they say, well, no, it was just her. It wasn't women in general that couldn't be captain. But that's really not what we can say that now. But that's not what the point of the show was. The point of the show was Starfleet didn't allow women to be captain.
Given that the pilot episode with Jeffrey Hunter was like this woman on the bridge, she's like, I just can't get used to women on the bridge.
Yeah, exactly. But I think, but when you take that, you have all these female officers, but that's it. You can only go to like commander. Commander's as high as you go, and then that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, number one would have been
Yeah, so it's
number one was higher ranking than anybody we saw on.
Well, assuming she was a commander, she was the second in command.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
She at least had the rank of commander. One would think. I mean, at least traditionally, that's what it was in other shows. So anyway, it was you're right. It was terrible.
I know it was written again. It was flaws in his face. Ugh.
Again, it was very trying to show sexism and trying to show that there's the glass ceiling thing and all that. But it just, even for back then, I don't think it worked.
No.
Yeah, Kirk complaining that they sent him a female yeoman.
Yeah.
That was another. So, all right. I think we've done TOS.
Yeah, I'm ready to move on.
We're going to move on to next gen. I'll start, and I know you agree with this one, is the all-time hated one. This is kind of universally.
The cast hates this one.
Which is Sub Rosa, which is the episode where Beverly gets a leg up.
Let's just say it. Beverly gets a leg up. Beverly and the green.
Where does she go back? I didn't even know. The storyline is she goes back
like she
to a
goes
planet
back to
she grew up
Scotland.
on, and her grandmother has this candle that has a ghost living in it.
Yeah,
that
grandma has a candle with a
gives
ghost.
her.
And what I guess
All right,
grandma would just light it every now and again.
Yeah.
Like, how did that work?
This old lady is lighting this candle and getting serviced by this ghost that lives in the candle.
Yeah, Martin, Up the Long Ladder is another one with Irish stereotypes. This one's Scottish stereotypes. So get your stereotypes straight here.
It's not even the stereotypes that bother me. It's just
like
bad. It's just bad.
If I had any balls at all, when Gates, I want to ask Gates, like, hey, girl,
I think he hates it too.
When you read that script,
hey, that was what fine. That was the last season, right? They were already in season 7 by then. I'm pretty sure that was season 7.
You know, I don't remember when something.
I'm almost positive it was season.
I thought it was 94. More in the middle,
season 7, kind of episode 14, dead in the middle. It was one of those,
Interesting. I did. Yeah, I would have put it more like season 4, or season 3.
It's 7. It's definitely
interesting.
Late. Yeah.
I gotta know, like, when you see that script, girl, what's going through your mind? You're like, I can do that.
There's too much creep in it. When you start thinking about, okay, your grandmother was, and now it's after, and now
you're doing it,
and now you're doing the like ghost and
using grandma's sex toys. Oh my god!
I have to use
It's just wrong.
That's just wrong. Worst episode ever.
All right. Let's move on because we could be on this one for a while.
What else you got?
The other one I do not like, and the cast does not like. Code of Honor. It is racist.
It is.
They knew it was. They knew it was racist in 1987 when it was aired.
Bad.
And here's the thing, you guys. I just want to give you this little tidbit. A few years later, on Stargate SG-1, there was an episode. Fourth episode of the first season. It's called Emancipation, and there's parallels. Both of these shows are the 4th episode of the first series. It's a planet of the parallels are. It's a planet of primitive people. The cast has a strong blonde female. The primitives have a strong chieftain who's interested in the strong blonde one. The chieftain has a wife who's jealous, and the wife and the strong blonde fight to the death. Both of these episodes were written by the same person.
I think they have a fetish.
Can you believe it?
Yeah, no, that's what that is. That guy, whoever wrote that, or woman, I shouldn't say, has certain particulars in his.
And they okayed this not just once, but they okayed it twice. I've got to go watch
two different studios, MGM or as opposed to Paramount. So
Angel MGM. One, yeah, Jeff. Angel One gets cited as one of the
Angel One. So that's definitely. I agree with you on that one. The other one I find cringy from season 1 is Justice, which is the one where Wesley. They're on the planet where everybody's half naked and Wesley's playing ball.
Like Logan's Run. They're all running. They're all like
they fall into a garden and they're going to put him to death over this.
Because he fell in the flowers.
They have this zero tolerance, which I guess was I guess the storyline. I guess or the message is that zero tolerance policies don't really work or are not really.
What the message was to that? Because
I don't know what else did you get from that. It was just not a good episode. It was stupid. The fact that even Picard was going to allow the whole trial or whatever was trying. He was trying, but he was going to allow it to go through. Oh well, it's their culture. And screw that.
How do you not just take your crew over and get them?
You didn't warn us about this whole policy that if anything happens in this area. Oh, by the way, so right there to me, any bets are off. If I was a captain, I'm beaming the kid out of here.
Running and playing.
If you had told us the whole thing and he did it anyway, I might have some more. But come on.
Dr. Alexander with the understatement of the night. Season 1 had issues.
It was a little rough. So, do you have another?
I do. I do. I actually have 2 more, but let's see. I'm going to, which one should I pick? I'm going to pick The Child. Do you guys remember this one? Little ball, a little tiny pinpoint of light comes floating into the ship and somehow into Deanna Troi, and she magically wakes up pregnant.
It rapes Deanna Troi.
I guess.
It's essentially...
I mean, she wakes up pregnant against her will. I mean, and then
I call that a violation. I don't know.
Do you remember Riker? Riker's like, and who's the father? Like he gets all like up in her grill about it. You know what I mean? That whole thing was just cringe. The birth scene, cringe. Like I
will say that New Voyages they did their own version of that.
Yeah, no, also cringe, but let's not go there.
Just want to throw it out there that
So, yeah, just throwing it out there.
I don't know why. It's interesting
before
why
my
they
time.
chose that one to be, because that was originally written. It's important to say that that was originally written to be a TOS episode.
Yes. So why they recycled it?
would've
And when
been-
they recycled it, why didn't they update it and fix it and make it better and get rid of some of those cringy elements?
Yeah. I don't know. I think it would have been. I think if
And
they
they
had
can't-
made that in 1969 or 68, I think it would have got a more backlash than it did in 1987 or 88, whatever it was.
I guess because we could have single mothers.
Maybe,
in
yeah, I think we
1987.
were maybe a little more hip, but either way.
And then the kid grows up super fast, and then he's just like, "Okay, I've learned everything I need to know. Bye." And
Bye.
he leaves.
Yeah.
And she sobs. Like it just, I don't know, man. I just
It's not a good
don't know.
episode. No,
It's not a good episode.
So the only other one I have left from TNG, and I'm you guys get your flamethrowers out because you're not going to agree, is Inner Light. I dislike
Walk
this
us
episode.
through.
Okay,
Walk us
here's
through, 'cause
my
I agree with
reasoning. Listen to me reasoning before you guys blow me up here. Inner Light is a badly written episode because there are too many plot holes in it, I find, that are just stupid. The number one is this alien race puts their entire eggs of their culture, so to speak, into this one little satellite on the hopes that it's going to meet the right person, that it's going to transmit this thing to show them their culture. And really only one person experiences the culture.
Yeah.
And gets a fruit out of it.
Nobody else learns anything.
So nobody else learns anything. Nobody has anything. It's only his interpretation of what his life was like on this planet, only in that one little section of the planet. Stupid. Dumb, dumb, dumb. The other thing that really bothers me is after it's all over and he wakes up after his 20-minute lifetime.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. You're going to need you're going to be screwed up beyond belief. I would think that, you're literally all of a sudden you're in this normal life. Then all of a sudden you're in this alien planet that you're stuck till literally your entire rest of your life. So you figure another 40 years of his life, let's say, that he lives out on this planet in this 20 minutes. And then wakes up and he's right back where he started. I'm sorry, your brain would have a major fry.
Yes, it would.
So
it would. They did slightly better. Do you remember when they did almost the same thing to Chief O'Brien? He was being punished and he had to go live.
Right.
And it was punishment.
That was punishment.
And when he woke up,
lived in jail for so many years.
He lived in jail for so many years. And when he woke up, he was a little messed up. So
yeah, and they did even later on in episodes, they did reference that he
referenced back to it. Yeah,
screwed up from that. So at least he tried. I agree. It's similar, but I just don't understand why people say that this was such a great episode. I found it overall fairly boring. The whole plot. I just felt the whole episode was not interesting. And sorry, yeah, I know it's a big popular one. This
episode.
I'm sorry, I don't, and I'm not the only one. Look it up. There's a YouTube video on this one that rips it to shreds. because
you know what?
Basically, a lot of the
you're right. A lot of people woke up and realized, hey, the premise on this is not that good. Like, what were these aliens thinking?
Stupid.
Like, that was their Hail Mary, just send their entire culture and everything to one person.
Yeah, rather than maybe have a whole, like a time capsule inside this thing, maybe, or multiple ones. Your whole culture could only launch one rocket.
One rocket. What if it had been lost in space forever?
Yeah,
like, what if a Jem'Hadar had, or a Pah-wraith had, found it,
and it became absorbed into
a Cardassian. Can you imagine a Cardassian living that way? Okay, whatever. All right. The only other one I had from Next Gen was Rascals. I know people enjoy that one. I
don't like that one either. No,
I don't need to see Baby Ro. I don't need to see Baby Whoopi. I don't need to see Baby Picard. And who was the other baby? There were four babies. I don't need to see. It was Ro, Picard, Whoopi, Goldberg, and
I don't know. Was it
whoever? It doesn't matter. I don't need Muppet babies in space. I just don't. I whatever. And it was dumb, and they were dumb, and although the kid playing Picard was okay, but the rest of it was dumb. And Ro was jumping on the bed, and I don't know.
Yeah, that was the silly part because they had all their faculties. They were just physically.
Yeah, weren't they? Yeah, they were just physically.
So why was she acting like a fool?
Although honestly, I'm not gonna lie. The way I feel some days, if I suddenly felt like I did as a kid again, I might be running and jumping too.
Yeah,
so
maybe.
I don't know. Maybe. All right, let's move on. What you want to do? Deep Space Nine?
Yes, Deep Space Nine. Now, I know there's a bunch of. The only one that really popped out to me was that season 1, which was called Move Along Home.
Oh, Move Along Home. Yeah,
it's called Move Along. The Gallagher. Yeah, and it's
hate
like
that
basically
one.
a game. It's just a stupid episode. It's kind of we're going to introduce you to a new race.
Yeah,
and it's just a week. I think it's just a weak episode. It's a season 1 episode.
It flashes back and forth between seeing the people playing the game. It's the people in the bar.
I mean, I know there were other bad ones in DS9.
But you know what? Honestly, Deep Space Nine is comparatively fairly decent.
Yeah, I mean, there was the other one, and I forget
the other one. People don't like is
on a rock, like she's in a cave with Odo, and this rock is growing around her, and she can't escape.
Oh yeah, and she can't move.
And it turns out it's not her at all. It's just it's another.
I remember that one, and she hated the producer. The showrunners did not like the way that rock turned out, and they didn't like the way it was looking. Anyway,
yeah. So whatever.
The other one they don't like on that one on Deep Space Nine is Prophets and Lace, and that's the one where they made Quark a female for whatever stupid plan they were doing. But Quark was a woman and had to dress like a woman.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, honestly. See, that's how bad that was. But honestly, guys, I can't pick at Deep Space Nine too hard. Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, to me,
they're okay.
I know I disagree. A lot of people disagree, but I think it's better than TNG. Actually, I think the writing and I think the storyline. I think the characters when they especially get to I was talking about earlier, but when they get to the Dominion War, and they were not in the core of the war, I think some of the writing in some of those episodes was just brilliant, and I think they were doing it as best they could with the type of show it was to show you the horrors of war and that there's hard decisions to be made, and we all don't end an episode with us all on the bridge laughing.
Exactly.
Yes,
that's right. Some episodes end on
laugh. So, and that's why I always thought I liked Sisko's character quite a bit.
Yeah.
I always felt Sisko was the most realistic captain of all the captains. I felt he was the most human. He showed his struggles that he couldn't always make. He didn't, it was hard for him to make the decision.
When Deep Space Nine started and it had this very strong religious note, I was like, but they handled it really well, I think.
Yeah.
And the storytelling on Deep Space Nine was excellent. Really excellent. So, all right, so let's move on. You want to do Voyager? Because now here's a show where we can.
There's a lot of bad episodes in Voyager.
So many bad episodes.
I would almost say shoot it right from Caretaker, the pilot. I dislike this show. I felt right from that 2-part episode when she made the decision to stay in the Gamma Quadrant, which I know if she didn't stay, there would be no show. But it was bad decision making on her part. And
she made some weird decisions. But this is the captain. Don't forget, this is the captain who made the Tuvix decision. Like she just,
which is very controversial.
Which is a very controversial.
The whole Tuvix thing, which I always thought again that was an episode that was kind of silly. Of course, they did it. They did such a wonderful job on.
In a weird way, it's their one good episode. It's their best episode because it keeps you like we're still talking about that today, and people are still coming down on either side of like, no, she should have done this, no, she should have done that. So in that way, it actually is one of their better episodes. But there's a lot of other episodes not so good.
No, and let's talk about besides Caretaker. Of course, everybody knows. I'm surprised nobody's punching this in, which is Threshold.
Yes, Threshold's on my list.
They break the time or the
Jeff. My favorite is Threshold.
My favorite is Threshold. Yeah, they break the warp 10 barrier and it sends them to I don't know. It turns them into lizards. So basically, as lizard people, Paris and Janeway have babies.
And then left them there, and then abandoned them
there wherever they were.
Are they like partially human? Is there any human DNA?
I don't know.
Like, how does this work?
It was a bad, really written
episode. And then when you get back to the ship and you're a human again, do you look at this guy and be like, "Yeah, we had babies together"? Like, how does that work? Whatever.
It was just
Speaking of babies, or babies singular. The other episode that there's a lot I despise, but the one I despise is this one called Elogium, and it's the one where Cass. Actually, I despise anything with Cass. I don't like Cass.
Cass is horrible.
It's the one where she's like, yeah, we only procreate once and we've hit some radiation and it's causing me to go into my procreation time early. So I got to decide now, do I have a baby? And it just was weird. It was like as bad as the child. It was weird.
Well, her whole thing that what her race only lives like 7 years or
2
something.
years, yes, really short. 3 years, 2 years, yeah.
Something like that. So it was really a dumb precedent, and of course they got rid of her because they needed somebody sexier, so they brought in 709.
And just because I don't like Cass, they got rid of her. They gave her a decent send off where she turns into this beautiful being of light and she's off to do whatever. And then there's an episode called Fury where she comes back and just wreaks hell on the ship. Like, what? Why?
Yeah, there was that.
Why?
Yeah, I don't know. Was that an alternate universe thing, or was it? I don't remember.
You know what? I don't.
Yeah, I know the episode you're talking about, but so it's just it's really. There's a lot of bad episodes in Voyager.
So many bad episodes in Voyager.
It's always been the bottom of my list until Discovery. As far as Star Trek shows.
Hi, Bruce. Hi, Chris.
Hey, Bruce. Hey, Chris. It's just no, not good. So the other one that I hate, and do you have any more Voyagers? I didn't want to.
I don't think so, but I mean, in general, I could pick at that show. I could pick at any episode.
One of the ones that I laugh out loud, and I know you probably guys have heard me talk about this one before, which is called Future's End. And the story of this one is they meet this other alien in space, and it sends the Voyager back in time to Earth of the 1990s, of the time it was actually being shot.
Yes.
And they have to stop this thing from happening.
Is this the one with Sarah Silverman?
This is the one with Sarah Silverman and Ed Begley Jr. as the bad guy. Ed Begley.
And it reminds me of another episode I hate too.
Ed Begley Jr. is your bad guy.
Say it again for the people in the back.
Ed Begley Jr. is the bad guy. Right there, we're going to say that this is bad. So what really drives me, and it's a two-parter. We have 2 hours of this horror show. The thing that cracks me up, and I shouldn't say cracks me up, what irritates me beyond belief with this particular episode is, okay, their whole goal of this series is to get back to Earth, correct?
Yes.
Want to get back to Earth. All of a sudden, they're at Earth, but 300 years too early.
Yes.
What do you think somebody might suggest they do in that situation? Something that is so canon from TOS to the films that nobody bothers to even mention. I'm like,
is it slingshot around the sun?
It could be a slingshot.
Are we supposed to slingshot around the sun?
Slingshot around the sun. It was in 2 TOS episodes and a TOS movie. It's canon out the.
It works every time, guys. Just do it.
So I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, I know for the show and for the episode they can't just do that. But it would have been great if, like, say, Harry just said, "Hey, why we're back? Why don't we just slingshot and we can be back?" They did it back 200 years ago. And Janeway goes, "No, we can't. We have to stay and fix the timeline." Okay, fine.
Yeah.
And then move on.
Yeah, they techno-babble their way out.
Mention it. Because it just drove me nuts that nobody bothered with it. And I've had arguments with other nerds. Well, Spock was the only one who could make those calculations. Bullshit.
Who made those calculations?
Bullshit.
Or maybe Chekhov did.
Well, even if Spock was making those calculations, we have gone 100 years. You can't tell me the computers of 100 years.
You can tell me that Tuvix couldn't do it? That should have been like elementary school math by then.
I'm just saying a computer should have been able to calculate that.
I agree.
Whatever.
Agree.
So there you go, folks.
While we're
worse because
you just reminded me of another episode. Any episodes. One is Fairhaven, where they recreate again Irish stereotyping, where they recreate the Irish village and Janeway. But there's another episode. Do you remember it where Janeway? I don't remember what the premise was, but she finds herself back on Earth, reliving like her ancestors' past, and it's like it's not even science fiction. It's like a soap opera.
Yeah,
do you remember that episode? I can't think of it.
I know.
Yeah, any episode where Jane and I was okay with like the black and white ones where Janeway looked like Bride of Frankenstein and Captain Proton and all that crap. I was okay with that crap. But anytime they went back to Earth, it was always a disaster. It was always a disaster. And anything with Cass, always a disaster. I hated Voyager. I didn't like it.
Bruce is saying, as far as my time to look up Gary 7, I believe they did that on Strange New Worlds. Did we not?
Oh,
no,
did
Picard.
We do that?
No, it was Picard. No, it was Picard. Picard, they found another. It wasn't Gary 7.
11:59, Jeff. Yes. 11:59 is the episode I was just talking about. Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on.
I use that one
we'll
quite
be here.
a bit.
We could be here for a while if we really get into this.
So
let's move on.
The next show would be Enterprise.
So I only had one for Enterprise.
I mean, I don't want to say that Enterprise all 4 seasons were great. I mean, they had some weak episodes.
They had some weird episodes.
So what's the one that you?
I chose the finale. I chose These Are the Voyages because I thought they did them dirty, Dragon and Riker and Troy and they made it St. Elsewhere. They made it like, oh, it was all a dream, like it was all just a holodeck thing. Like what? Why? No.
Yeah, that was.
Not
and
really.
again,
I'm being facetious,
from what I understand, that was originally not written as a season ending. It was a series ending episode. They had hoped that had the show ran the full 7 seasons,
it would have been in the middle, right?
We would have seen the Romulan War. We would have seen the refit of Enterprise so that it had the lower. We would have seen basically the birth of the Federation, which is what their goal was at the end. So to get the end, when Enterprise end, we would have a full blown Federation. And they did continue this on in novels, so there are some really good stuff. But you're right. I agree that it was rude of them to bring in Riker and Deanna Troi into somebody else's show on their finale.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
Yeah. It was really bad.
Do them justice or give them credit at all. It was their show. It was a good show. They had some strong episodes.
Yeah, no, it didn't. Like I've said, people know this is like,
and it leaves everything that you just mentioned. All of that's still out there to be explored. We got Disco.
Done it in novels. So if you do want to continue, if you're an Enterprise fan and you want to see where it went, Trip does not die. That was all a ruse.
I like that.
He goes that a lot. Section 31. That was all a ruse to get him out so that he could go
I like that a lot.
31. And he goes in the novels. He goes to Romulus as a undercover Romulan to find out. Yeah, so there's this whole thing. It was pretty good. So that's. I think they did a pretty good job in the novels of fleshing out where it would have, or maybe should have gone.
Yeah.
But the other weak episode I had picked out was called "The Night in Sickbay." This is a season 1, I believe.
And the dog is.
It's silly. It's silly. They go and they're meeting this new race, and the dog pees on their sacred tree, and of course they're offended. And rather than the Archer just apologizing and whatever, he has a hissy fit and goes back to but the dog now has some kind of pathogen he picked up on the planet. The whole thing is maybe you shouldn't have brought your dog to an alien planet. I don't know. They said it was okay, but they didn't know the dog was going to wazz all over everything. Clearly they don't have dogs.
Bruce didn't like parts of the Xindi arc. See, I was okay.
Well, the Xindi, I agree. I didn't like. The Xindi arc in itself wasn't great. Of course, the whole Temple Cold War thing was in there, but I think there were some really good episodes within that season 3.
Yeah,
I think there were some really good episodes. So I won't call that whole season bad. You're right. I'm not a fan of that Xindi arc. And then Martin and about the Nazis, again, that's going back to that Temporal Cold War. I think they pulled away from that quickly in season 4, and we had some really great episodes in season 4. I think for Enterprise.
Overall, Enterprise was not horrific. I thought it was pretty good. I think they did them dirty at the end, and I think it could have gone on a little bit longer. Yeah, Chris, we already tackled Wesley falling in the bushes.
Yeah, Wesley. Well, he says the dog peeing, I think is what he's referring to.
Yeah, he's referring to that.
Yeah, I agree. So,
all right, so let's move on. What comes next after?
Disco would be next, and we'll just say all of seasons 3 and 4. And probably
it would be easier for me to say the episodes I like on Disco. It really would.
Yeah, I agree. Season 1, it was.
I'm okay with season 2. You know why? That's the Pike season. I'm okay
Pike
with
season
2.
Yeah, that's good. And then any of the ones that had Harry Mudd in it. The two
Actually,
that Harry Mudd episodes were decent.
I'm not gonna lie, I actually did not hate Jason Isaacs. I thought Lorca was okay.
Oh no, I think Lorca was a great character, and I think we all wanted to see him back, but he was clearly going to die. So
he's clearly gonna die, yeah.
Like I said, the first 2 seasons were not horrible with Disco.
No,
it just,
they weren't.
Once they went to the future, the
Bruce. Look at Bruce.
Increased. Yeah, the crying increased, the emotional connection increased. Very non-Starfleet like.
No one acted like they were in the military at all.
The other thing I hate about
the military,
every season, with the exception of the first season, every season was this: the universe is going to end, and we have the only people that
the burn or whatever.
The burn. Well, finding out what happened to the burn was
the Red Angel. The burn.
Well, the Red Angel was one thing, right? Then we go to the burn. Then I don't know what the next thing was some other emotional thing making people cry. So, but what I thought is when they went to the future and they found out, okay, the Federation has all been, it's just a few
decimated.
Planets. All these other, excuse me.
God bless you.
I thought a great way, since, if you want to get back to the more core Star Trek, is why didn't they just have them go and reach out to all these planets that were Federation planets back in the day and try to and have adventures with getting them back?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What has changed on those planets? Like we saw a big change. Vulcan obviously had a huge change.
Upset teenager Rex Warp. Chris, Rizzo and I have had a laugh over this several times. There is
petulant child blows up all warp core.
Petulant child, yeah, which we kind of did in TOS, but I mean, whatever. But Rizzo
not
and I
everywhere
have laughed
all at once.
everywhere. there was a Saturday Night Live sketch that took a stab at Disco that was so dead on accurate, and I think very funny that I wonder sometimes
if you should find that.
I should link it. I wonder sometimes if the Disco writers saw it and understood it. Like, did they understand? Because
I think Disco's right. The writers are writing for a certain demographic that's not us.
It's not me. I'm not that demographic.
Very Gen Z. I don't want to be picking on people that of that age but I think it speaks more to their perception of the world.
But is that how they're going to be doing things? Because there's a reason why we don't do things that way.
Emotions are things to be worn on your sleeve and not hide and just
not when you're trying to be in a.
That's what I'm trying to say. I'm like, there's a time and a place, and that usually is not the place. It's always in the middle of some crisis that they decide to have these existential.
I get that. I mean, Starfleet is technically a military. I mean, it's a military organization. It's an explorer, but it's a military organization. Yeah. So shouldn't there be a certain level of decorum?
Which brings me to Strange New Worlds.
Yes, let's go there because you and I both hate the exact same 2 episodes. Do it.
Well, the first one, of course, is from season 1. Excuse me, I gotta get my notes here. Which is the Elysium Kingdom. Okay, so this is the fairy tale one.
Yes.
Initially, I hated it because I felt it was a silly episode that we.
Yes, Bruce, we're getting there. We are getting there.
We'll get there, Bruce. You don't have to jump the gun. We hadn't really met these characters yet.
Yeah, we didn't know them well enough.
We only were in a few episodes. That was like episode 5 or 6, I think, or something like that. So that's all we've had to meet these people. Season 1, and it's this kind of silly episode, and they're dressed up like in a fairy tale atmosphere. But I think what really bugged me about the episode was the underlying what was actually going on, which was M'Benga's daughter creating some of this, or this alien that was creating it for her. And
which you and I talked about this. How is M'Benga's daughter not child abuse?
Yeah,
like how was that
subplot from season 1 with M'Benga putting his daughter into a transporter loop because he's trying to keep her alive until he can figure out how to save her is just
child abuse.
It's messed up. And then M'Benga's got some weird. Then we find out later that he was like an operative.
Yeah, when he was like he had the most kills. I'm like, your doctor? Yes, your compassionate doctor has the most kills. Okay, I see you.
Yeah, I just felt it was poorly written, poorly timed.
You know what? It was horrible because we didn't know these guys well enough to appreciate them being out of character.
Exactly.
We didn't
And
know.
again, it's that we only get 10 episodes. I want decent episodes, not these little stupid ones.
Yes. Yes. If
You
we're
know,
only going to get 10
every
episodes,
sci-fi
give me
series
good,
has-
solid storytelling. Don't
every
dick around with
sci-fi
fairy
series
tales.
has their silly episodes, but they're
Yes.
usually into season 4 or 5 after.
Shrek
It's very
original
popular.
series had tons of silly episodes, but original series had like 24 episodes a season.
Right.
Or 20.
But I mean, like, you
something
look at like
episodes.
SG1, they had some funny ones. The
Sure.
Time
They
the
also
Time
had
Loop-
20 something episodes
Yeah,
a
exactly.
season.
You know, they had like, but they were always kind of stretched out, and they weren't. Again, there was plopped in somewhere in the middle of a season that already had 25 episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why I said
Klingon boy
stop
band.
wasting our time. So that was the one that really bothered me. Of course,
I know,
the other
Bill.
one,
That transporter loop thing is an issue. It's an ongoing issue because Okay, we'll discuss it
well,
later.
they implied that Scotty was the only one that he was able to do it to himself. Remember on Relics?
Well,
He
when
put
you
himself
see that
through-
flashback episode, you realize Mabenga was learning how to do it because he'd get it was in the MASH episode.
Yeah,
They'd get the bodies in and they would just leave them in the loop until they could figure out what to do with them because they were overwhelmed with casualties. But anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, no, I know. So, but they also, the implication initially back in TNG was Scotty was the only one to think about, because even Geordi was like, "Wow, how did you think to put it into a?" Because the
Into
way
a
he
loop,
did it
yeah.
was a diagnostic loop or something.
Yeah, so the
Somehow
pattern would
kept
degrade.
kept
Yeah.
it from degrading or something.
Yeah.
So it was something that Scotty had invented in the sense that not that it was some kind of known thing that they could do. But again, I don't really worry about that even so much, because I've always felt that the TOS, TNG, that whole up through Enterprise, and then we get to Discovery, we've jumped universes.
Yeah, we have.
No
Yeah.
way it's the same.
Somehow we're
we're in another
yeah.
multiverse. That just
Yeah.
has to be timeline.
right.
What are you gonna call it?
Let's talk about the other episode that
Which
chafes
is-
our britches, and I'm surprised Phil isn't here to defend it.
But Subspace Rhapsody was just, again, another episode that was a waste of 10 episodes.
Waste of 10
It was
episodes.
silly. It didn't make any sense. I know they were trying to make
They
it
did.
like somehow this, whatever the nebula was
Because at
called.
first they were self-aware, but then they crossed that line into satire. And I said, nope, sorry, I'm out. And you know who pitched this? Is Christina Chong, baby drummer. She wanted to do this.
Because
And
she has a good voice.
she's the only one that could sing. She's literally the only one that could sing and knew it. But why they listened to her and said, yeah, you know what, this sounds like a good idea, I don't know.
Because I think they
know.
think that putting in these silly little makes people like, oh, I feel so much more connected to the character now. But
That's
again,
not
we
how
haven't
I've ever connected to
we
any
have
of
not
Star Trek.
established this connection yet. We're only literally seen them for, what was this, episode 8, 18 episodes at this point.
Yeah.
Total, with a year and a half between seasons. I just felt it was silly, and I think it also speaks to my disappointment with Strange New Worlds, in the sense that the interactions with Pike, I felt Pike was better on Disco.
Yeah, I agree.
He had a much more commanding presence.
Yes,
Whereas
he
here
did.
it's like he's just kind of this captain that sort of gives, and everybody kind of does.
And we
what they
talked about
want.
this. Season 2, he hung out in the back making faces for most of those episodes. He didn't. Yeah. Bill saying demographics, they're not aiming at us. That's the problem, though, Bill, is the Disco, they're not aiming at us, and we know it. But Strange New Worlds was meant to be for all of us who hated Disco. Like, they were like, this is a return to episodic Star Trek storytelling. This is going to be, this return. So they are aiming at us with Strange New Worlds. So why they went with this episode, I will never understand.
I can get past the fact that they made the Enterprise the TARDIS, and it's clearly larger on the inside than it is.
Well, they did that with JJ Trek. That's where that started.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying I can get by all these little things. What I'm having trouble getting,
I can get by the Benihana in the captain's quarters.
Yeah, I can get
fireplace.
past that. I really can. But what drives me crazy was retconning the Gorn.
The Gorn.
Why did you
no
have
need?
To do
There was
that? Why
no
couldn't you
need
just
to do that.
make up a race,
and not just retconning the Gorn, but then take plot lines from other shows.
Yeah,
like they took the Alien plot line, shoved it in. They took the Snowpiercer plot line, shoved it in. Like they just were copy and paste.
Yeah, they were really stealing from a lot of. And then
the name of the show is Strange New
They never
Worlds.
go to any. They
never go to New Worlds. We always boldly go where we've already been. We're all in reverse. We're driving, looking in the
the other thing that drives me crazy is this lack of discipline on the bridge, particularly.
Yeah, Melissa
Ortega, I like Ortega's character, but when she goes, "Are you sure you really want to do that?"
Yeah.
Like when he gives her an order, and it's
but again, this is the captain who was more commanding on Disco. This is the captain who hangs out and makes faces and is really lax. Maybe he's gotten lax and letting her,
So
but you're right. This should be like even Rebecca Romijn's character seems to be a little more into the discipline and hierarchy. So you think someone would say, "Hey guys, come on, let's get professional here."
So just to kind of contrast, just so we're not, I'm not against silly episodes, because also in this season we had the those old scientists, which was the crossover with Lower Decks.
Yes,
had a lot of humor, was able to fit it together with Star Trek lore, if you will, with things that time traveling, the way they put it together, I thought was pretty clever. And that one I think would have been better. Okay. That one I think is okay because I think it fits.
See, I loved it.
Better. I loved it.
I loved it, but I love Lower Decks. And so I was okay to see Boimler and Mariner.
I know a lot of people didn't like these old scientists but they're generally right.
Bruce is saying Riker. I hope you're saying that because he is the one that directed that.
Yeah. Yeah, and even Boimler did the Riker maneuver.
Bill, you know what, Bill? This saying that Pike knowing his future. If you ask me to take 2 moments, my favorite 2 moments ever out of Star Trek, one of them is Pike. My favorite 2 moments ever is one saying is sitting on the edge of forever, and it's just that moment where he says these 3 words: more important than I love you, let me help. That moment I love, and the other moment I love is Pike knowing his future and steadying himself and saying service, sacrifice, compassion, love. I love those 2 moments because those are the heart of Star Trek, that we are supposed to be helping other people. And all this other crap that we're talking about tonight is when they deviate.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a simple formula, guys.
We didn't even really get into Picard.
We didn't even get into Picard. And for Picard on my list, you know what I wrote? I wrote Picard season 1 and 2.
Yeah,
I didn't even write episodes. I just wrote entire season.
The biggest problem with Picard season 1, the biggest problem was we retconned the entire Federation because the whole they turned on the Romulans.
We threw out Measure of a Man.
We threw out Measure of a Man. We turned our backs on another race that needed us, which is again exactly what you're saying. And this whole very dark, treating this guy who was a captain that saved the Federation how many times, treating him like crap, in my opinion. And then we kind of started to see. We saw this again in season 2 of it. It just until they got to the 3rd season, which obviously they realized that this is not what the fans wanted, was 1 and 2. They wanted 3. That's what we wanted to see with our old friends of
guys, the praise for 3 continues to this day. Like I will still wander onto social media and there'll be somebody like, oh my God, Picard season 3. Like Dave Blass is still like, Terry McAllister still like basking in that glory.
Yep.
Good for them. And I say they deserve it. Good for them.
Yep. Let's hope. I'm hoping Paramount CBS sees that.
And I hope so too.
That. Although now we're seeing the trailers we're seeing that someone should say trailer,
which is kind of weird.
31, which will be just a film.
Here's the bizarre thing: is I want like Picard. I just bitched about boldly going where we already been, and yet I love Picard season 3. But the difference is Picard season 3. We didn't go where we already been.
That was just built for that wasn't really meant to be good Star Trek. It was good. It was fan service.
It was fan service. But we loved it.
The story really wasn't that great. It was just the fan service that we got to see
the old
crew, we got to see the old Enterprise, we got to see all
the story had some issues. Yeah.
The story had a lot of issues, but it wasn't as bad as the stories in season 1 and 2. So yeah, so we'll see. We got
Admiral. What was her name with the white hair?
Oh, yeah.
I actually was Hubers. I actually, in that moment, was kind of okay with that. Like, he might have had that. It was kind of like, you know what it was like? It was like Todd Stashwick going, no, because admittedly, Picard had kind of been. I think
that was the other thing.
Throwing his weight around.
Yeah, that I agree, but the way they went about the whole thing with Stashwick's character, he deserved.
You and I
He
loved.
should have
Yeah.
said no.
Yeah,
So you know
you
what
and
I'm
I
saying? It wasn't
loved
like he went to
Stashwick.
the Admiralty and asked for this. He
What
was
was
trying to pull a
Stashwick's
fast
name?
one on this captain, and I would have been, most people would have been like, "What do you mean? You
Shaw.
want me to?" Yeah, Captain Shaw. You want me to literally, just disobey my orders to do what you want?
Yeah.
After you've lied to get
After
here in the first place.
Yeah. Oh, we saw right through him immediately.
Yeah, and then of course he had the epic, what I call the Indian.
The Borgo back.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's like
it's like
Palpatine's back. Somehow Palpatine's back. Yeah, the Borgo back. Somehow the Borgo back. Yeah, I admit that I am a walking contradiction because I'm like, I don't want to boldly go where I've already been, and yet I did love Picard season 3. So I don't know what to make of that. Make of that what you will. I am a human contradiction, but whatever.
So anyway, that brings us to 8 o'clock. So next week we're gonna do.
You could have gone for another hour. Oh
next week, I know. Next week though, we're gonna do the best of.
The best, and I think I just
covered quite a bit of it on our own.
I just spoiled it, giving you my 2 favorite.
Same list, just what we think are some of the best episodes.
The best of Star
Trek. So you guys can always post up and see what you see, if you agree with us or disagree with us. Hopefully by then I'll be over this Canuck-fluenza I picked up in Canada.
You'll be fine as long as it's not COVID. Jeff's wondering how 7 managed to become a captain. They like to promote people who screw up. Have you noticed that in Star Trek? It's not just 7; it's a lot of people. Oh, you screwed up and you did a lot of damage. We're gonna promote you.
I thought it was crazy that they made her a commander and a second in command right out of the gate. So
Bruce says he feels fine. He doesn't
feel
have
fine. Well, you weren't.
That's because you're already Canadian. It's not Canucko germs for you, Bruce.
It's some kind
of. It's only Canucko germs for Rizzo.
It's kind of Canuck. Yeah, clearly it only attacks American DNA.
It only attacks American DNA. All right, kids.
All right. So on that note, we'll say goodnight. I don't know I think Bruce is doing
oh yeah, wait. I do have.
Roy is doing
celebrating his 4th anniversary. So if he's on his 4th, we must be on our 4th, which kind of blows my mind.
Our 4th would be shortly after his. Yeah,
shortly after his, and then Phil will be premiering a new work by Natalie Tenenbaum from her album The Piano. So tune in to Roy's Tie-Dye Sci-Fi on Friday and Phil's Thursday 3 o'clock show. Captain Phil's Planet at 3 o'clock.
Super.
Yes, they always promote you to your highest level of incompetence.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of a universal.
That's a universal.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us. We will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Same bat time, same bat
channel. And until then, live long and prosper. Gotta get them out. And of course, may the force be with you always. Bye.